What were you expecting? Paradise?
Eden is the kind of movie that reminds you just how problematic adapting real life can be. Based on the true story of European settlers who, after World War I, journeyed to the isolated Florence Islands in the Galápagos, it's a film rich in history, but somewhat limited by it. That's the big challenge Ron Howard faced, trying to keep the movie somewhat real while maintaining a layer of suspense, and I'd say the results vary. The authenticity of this movie is undeniable. I think that was really well done, but then you get these moments that remind you it's very obviously non-fiction, even if you didn't already know. This becomes apparent when the climax comes about 3/4 in. I'm not saying that should be altered, but it's kinda hard to keep you engaged after that. It's still a satisfying moment, no doubt, but if it wasn't non-fiction, I couldn't exactly call it a daring move. Opposed to a notable moment from the movie Baby Driver, of all things to reference, I'll say no more. And like I said, I don't like complaining about something I commonly get mad at other movies for doing. Thing is though, it's not a biopic. They're not taking somebody who's already interesting and making them notably less interesting for no reason. This is a story that could be an engaging movie in its own right, and it's held back due to being real. And similar to what I said about Last Breath, I don't know if it was completely needed. I'm more into the creativity mindset, but it's not to say any of it's bad. There's definitely meaning in watching these people make something out of nothing, the varying levels of success and approaches, and despite there not being a lot to latch onto, I think it still wraps up in a satisfying manner. There's a number of real well-done moments at the end, despite it not really feeling like an ending, and in cases like that, I'm okay with them not butchering it. A lot of the movie does work, and what doesn't mostly can't be helped, but there is a bit of a pacing issue that you can't blame on its non-fiction nature. It's not a big issue, but I'd say slightly front-loaded, as in things get set up pretty quickly. I'm not trying to say it's boring by any means, but it is something you notice. And that gets in the way though of the great performances, and I think that alone makes it worth it. Sydney Sweeney does a convincing job as Margaret Whitmer, arguably the most important character. She brings a surprising amount of tension to the film's most intense scene. I won't get into what that scene is, but it's definitely a highlight, and it would probably be even better if we didn't know the outcome. Jude Law's Dr. Friedrich Ritter is fascinating too. He has an on-the-edge tone, the kind of person who seems in control, but you know he's really unhinged. It's a bit predictable, yeah, but it has a satisfying conclusion. And there's Vanessa Kirby, who despite having about equal screen time, essentially steals the movie as Dora Strauss. Maintaining a sympathetic yet edgy personality, is again given a few emotional scenes. She walks a fine line between vulnerability and, I guess, ruthlessness. It's a character not held back by the movie's limitations, and probably what I enjoyed the most. Also, and this is something I do know, in real life her and Frederick weren't already a couple. They both had lovers who they left and basically requested they take care of their loved ones. That must have been awkward. If I recall, I don't think that detail made the movie, and it really should have, given their last names. However, Ana de Armas says the manipulative antagonist, I'm gonna skip pronouncing that name, may be the most unique thing about the movie. There's a certain formula when it comes to this kind of thing. I take it you know it. Manipulating the other side without even a good reason to do so, succeed until the plot says stop. But in this case, there's nothing intimidating about her. She has two lovers who mostly do what she says and plans to build a lavish hotel. I'm going to assume it's historical accuracy, leading this movie down an unpredictable route, but she's basically a joke. No hotel ever gets built or any progress of any kind. She's strictly there to cause problems and essentially gloat, but remotely intimidating she isn't.
Shocking.
I don't know too much about this, so if I'm wrong, you'll tell me, I guess. If accuracy defined this character, then in this case it worked. She's so obnoxiously unlikable, you'll enjoy watching her fail, and the acting is another highlight. She's basically a Bond villain without the budget to follow through. The rest of the cast, they're there, but don't leave much of a mark. Daniel Bruhn's Heinz Whitmer is fine, but forgettable. And Jonathan Tittle as Harry Whitmer doesn't get enough screen time to make any real impact. All that said, I think the movie is rated a bit too low. It succeeds in creating a strong atmosphere, the island feels isolated and desolate, and they really capture a harsh environment. They also go in detail on that early on. The progress may happen a bit too quickly, but the setting looks so good, it's still effective. That's why despite the issues, I do like it. I don't love it, but I do like it. It falls flat in a few places, but the immersive tone, genuine tension, and solid performances mostly outweigh the faults here. If they'd, I don't know, stretch the truth a little bit, it could have been something really special, but I can respect the fact that it wasn't the intention. It's not the kind of thing I'd get too excited about or really need. It's effectively showcasing the issues with this kind of movie, but for what it is, I don't get the mid ratings. It successfully gets the point across. I don't exactly know how much is embellished, but it's a compelling movie, and in this case, that's enough. So let me know what you think about Eden down in the comments. I'm curious to know if anybody thinks the truth hindered this movie, or if it's the best way. I'd love to know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, please share it, hit the like button, it's highly appreciated, and subscribing is always an option too. I'm the Analyst, and remember kids, the truth is complicated.